Greetings YouTube! This is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001 bringing you the fourth part of Camunon's commission and the third in the kitty trio I have been working on this month, Raito. He is the cat in the middle of this drawing. Okay, so primarily the base figure for Raito was the Free Rider Sonic, except that I swapped out the head for a regular Sonic's and the arms and legs of a Wave figure. So actually, very little of this was the Free Rider Sonic. In fact, only the torso was Free Rider Sonic. Forget what I said. The base is just a composite figure. It was not Free Rider Sonic. So, Raito had a pretty unique hair design. I had to give him cheek tufts, bangs, a couple extra spines right next to the bottom ones. And all of his spines had to be, for want of a better term, I'm going to say shaggier. As for the paint app, once I had cast his hair to make sure that it would stay, I had to remove the bangs so that I would actually be able to paint the face. That, and I added those cool blue lightning bolt things that he's got going on, and then I just stuck the bangs back on, creating Raito's head. So, like I said, the legs come from a Wave figure. Raito has something like a cargo pants with a little pocket down by the cuff, which would be really hard to reach into if you were actually wearing them, but whatever. I got this little pouch thingy off of a Star Wars figure, Cato Parasetti to be specific. So I drilled a tiny little hole in the pants so that the peg could go in there, and when painted up, it is a pair of pants with a pocket all the way down by the cuff. And then I just repainted the other leg. The shoes were a really complex job. I had to mix just a slightly off-white pair. Like they're not completely white, but they're not really gray either. It's like a very light gray. Plus that pattern was it was kind of tough to do because I had to get a lot of intricate little shape details that Raito's shoe has. Thankfully, the hips were very easy, as all I had to do was paint them gray and give him those light blue belt strap things. So once assembled, the legs look like this. Like with Cat, the tail is a scratch build made out of Super Sculpey. It's painted up gray and lighter gray, and attached over Sonic's tail. So again, it doesn't move, but it's really on there securely and won't fall off, which is how I like my tails, not falling off. Yeah, like with the hips, the chest is just a pretty simple repaint. Although I did cut off Sonic's 2 back spines. So, yeah, that was the easy part. The arms were a bit more complicated. If you look, you see Wave's cuffs, they have this little ring on them. If you look back, you see that there's kind of a second ring there. That came from a Chitara figure's bow staff. I mean, as an accessory for Chitara, it's useless because it's kind of like a piece of cooked spaghetti and completely unconvincing as any kind of staff, but as a little flexible piece of plastic material, it's wonderful for making rings around cuffs, which is what I did. Although I had to cut it in half lengthwise. That requires very fine precision cutting with an X-Acto knife, because you don't want to cut all the way through it and you don't want to cut yourself. So the hand modifications, as you can see, I took the left hand, the hand that he wanted Raito to be holding the sword in, and I used an X-Acto knife to cut wedges of plastic out of the insides of the fingernails and then curled them in and glued them in that position so it would look like a gripping hand. Then, to make sure the sword wouldn't fall out, I put a peg in the center of it which would grip the sword. Just like I did with the egg robos and their guns. Alright, next up is the sword. It is a gigantic thing that looks like Zangetsu and Cloud's Buster Sword had a baby. It started out as a piece of black craft foam, which I cut into the shape, and then I glued on 2 pieces of plastic, which had also been cut into the shape. The handle is made by a ribbon of paper wrapped around and glued onto the plastic handle, with a small hole the size of the peg drilled in a strategic position. As you can see, the hand is capable of holding it, and if so inclined, it actually can hold it, inverted, with the blade being under the hand, so that it can match a reference picture that was given. So, with a quick paint job and a lightning bolt and a parallelogram logo, which is made out of paper that's glued on and sprayed with sealant, we have Raito's sword. So, let's move on to the completed figure, shall we? And so, here is Raito. I think he looks really awesome. This is actually a pretty unique character design and a little bit more complicated than the stuff I normally make. I think it's really how everything had to come together to make a hand that holds a sword and all the little details on his little outfit, not to mention all the decorative lightning bolt shaped highlights on his hair. So this guy, he took a little bit of sculpting work, above average amount of paint work, and the Flash washes out the details on those shoes that I worked so hard to make. Isn't life lovely? So, as you can see, Raito is capable of wielding and posing with his sword, and looks freaking awesome doing so. So, this is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001, signing off.